Hey guys! Today I'm excited to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now this is the start of Phase 5. This is like the start of Kang Dynasty, and we were introduced to Kang in Loki as He Who Remains, and we already knew Jonathan Majors was crushing this role, so is it any surprise that he is the standout of this film? No, not at all. Absolutely no surprise. Now, let's start with the positives of this movie. I will say the script is great. It feels like it gives everyone their own time for the most part. We don't get that much of the Wasp, but we do get a lot of Janet's version of the Wasp, right? We get a lot of Janet Van Dyne, and Michelle Pfeiffer is just such a phenomenal actress, and especially seeing her in scenes with Jonathan Majors, the two of them have like an unparalleled chemistry. I love the conversations that they have, and Jonathan Majors, by the way, as Kang, and all of his variants gives me chills, okay? Goosebumps, literal goosebumps. There were some lines that were delivered by him that I was like, oh my gosh, I was in it, right? I love him. I think he's fantastic, and just to see this version of this character, because obviously He Who Remains is a different variant than this Kang the Conqueror. So it's very exciting to get to see the similarities, but also the differences of this character. Now, I will say I'm a big fan of the Ant-Man movies, like especially the first one. It's one of my favorite MCU films. I just think it's a lot of fun, and it has that humor, and it's always been kind of like, we've got this real intense, crazy stuff going on, but then we have Ant-Man as like the comedic relief, right? Well, that is the thing about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is that yes, you get that comedic relief. There are moments, especially the beginning and towards the end, that you're just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I love this. This is so funny. It's hilarious. Paul Rudd is absolutely hilarious. No surprise there. I will say this one definitely feels like there are more high stakes. Again, this is the start of Phase 5. Things are intense. It's not all unicorns and puppies and rainbows, okay? We've got some serious, intense stuff going on here. Kang is the Conqueror, right? He's here, okay? And so I really enjoyed getting to see that part of Ant-Man come out. Like, things are intense, right? Scott's kind of stepping it up. And speaking of Scott, we have Cassie coming in, finally donning a suit and getting to go to her full stature, so to speak. See what I did there? And Catherine Newton is a great choice. I love seeing her join the MCU. I think she's phenomenal, and I really love the father-daughter story between her and Scott. As a parent, there were several moments in that kind of made me a little like, oh, I feel it in my heart. I get this. I get where Scott is coming from. And I love seeing Scott and Cassie kind of finally have that time to bond. You know, he was in jail, and then he was blipped for 5 years. So she's 18 now, and they're getting to spend that time together. Although it's really weird because they actually didn't have a lot of time together when she was growing up. So I see where he's struggling, right? He's feeling like perhaps, you know, he's missed out on a lot, but like he never really had that full bonding time with her, right? But we're getting it finally down in the quantum realm, which, let's speak about the quantum realm. This is Marvel meets Star Wars, you guys. This feels like, oh yeah, I know Kevin Feige's doing a Star Wars movie. Clearly some inspiration was there. I know he's, you know, it was obviously Peyton Reed as well, but I really enjoy it feels like we're in space almost, right? It reminds me of the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Like, that's kind of where it goes. It's basically space, but it's like not space. It's just in the quantum realm. But I found that really interesting. I love the characters that we get to see, the fun new characters, crazy, bizarre, insane characters. They're crazy. Some of them are really crazy. Really crazy. I'll just say that. Then we get that. And we get the characters, we get the costuming, we get the sets. Like, it's beautiful. It feels like space. It looks like space. And that's what I really dig about the quantum realm. Now, let's talk about MODOK, because listen, on paper, MODOK should not work how MODOK is. Now, there are going to be people who absolutely hate what happened to MODOK. I totally get that, okay? I love MODOK in the comics. I'm a big fan of MODOK in the comics. So to have it deviate a little bit from what I'm used to is you have to like roll with the punches here, okay? I will say it almost reminds me of the Thor Love and Thunder goats. For me, loved it. The way they just kept bringing them in and having them scream, I was dying laughing. And I know a lot of people were not a fan of that. It felt like, okay, we get it, you're pushing it too much. So I do think there are going to be people who feel that way about MODOK. I will say MODOK delivers some of the best lines in the film. I'm not going to ruin them at all, but there are some fantastic lines that come out of MODOK's mouth. I also personally enjoyed the Patton Oswalt MODOK, just putting that out there. So, you know, if you like hate that kind of stuff, you might not like MODOK in this movie. I think his design is insane. I was shocked at first because I didn't know things. Apparently it's out there, so some people might know things. I didn't know them. And so, and I don't want to spoil them for people who don't, because that brings part of the surprise. So perhaps that's part of it too, is I'm going in and I'm like, what is this? And then it just gets crazier and crazier and more ridiculous. And I absolutely see how some people will not like that part. I enjoyed it. And the more it went on, the more I enjoyed it. At first I was like, this is ridiculous. But then like the longer it went on, I was like, no, why is this still making me laugh? I don't understand. And then, of course, we also have a couple of the new characters, Quaz. And again, it feels like he was, I don't want to say underused, okay? But it just felt like I enjoyed when he was there, but some of his lines, there was a little misstep there. With some of the new characters, there's just a weird, you feel like you're thrown into the middle of a story, which is kind of the point. You're supposed to be thrown into the middle of like freedom fighters. There's this stuff going on, but because you're thrown into the middle of it, you kind of miss the backstory, and it makes it hard to connect to some of the characters, especially these newer characters that are down there in the quantum realm. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. I will say this is a 2 hour and I think 5-minute long movie. It didn't feel that long to me. I never really felt the time. Felt like an hour 45 to me. I was never like, but when it actually ended, I was like, oh, it's ended. Okay, all right. Like I wasn't expecting it to already be 2 hours long, which is always a good thing. Definitely always a good thing. There's some great action in this movie. There's some insane stuff with like duplicates of people. That's what I'll say, I guess. I don't want to give it too much spoilers, but there's some intense moments. I think there's pictures, I think from the trailers out there, but there's some really, really intense action scenes, which I really liked, especially, you know, involving Ant-Man and Cassie. That's some of my favorites. I will also say, when it comes to Bill Murray's character, I know he's like somewhat problematic right now, and it did feel like Marvel maybe cut some of his stuff. That's just how it felt to me. Perhaps he was not in it that much. Perhaps it was just this moment that he's in there that he's supposed to be in, but it almost felt like there was some editing done after it came out that he was a little bit problematic. That's just my opinion. Maybe it's just poor editing. I don't know. It's not really a good thing, but you know, it just felt like, oh, maybe they went back and they changed a couple of little things here and there, because he really is not used very much at all. Entertaining when he's there, of course, because he's Bill Murray, but just felt a little off to me, I guess, is the way to put it. Now, Michael Douglas, of course, he's amazing. He has some amazing moments, right? Some that real, like, powerful moments, I guess. Everyone kind of has their own sort of like badass, powerful, in a fight, save the day kind of type moment, which was exciting. Michael Douglas is probably my favorite. Cassie's pretty good too. Janet's amazing, of course. I mean, they're all really, really, really good. This is more Ant-Man down in the quantum realm with his family. It's more Ant-Man with his family versus Ant-Man with his friends, which I really did feel the loss of his friends. I love his little gang. Of course, we still did get David voicing one of the characters from the quantum realm. But, you know, we didn't get Luis. We didn't get like a we're telling the story, right? And I just really was sad because I did feel like that part of the Ant-Man films was missed. And that's one of my favorite parts of the other Ant-Man films, okay? So Jonathan Majors, though, absolutely phenomenal. Again, terrifying. Then there's 2 end credit scenes. There's 2. Well, a mid credit and an end credit. And I will say this is not an ant playing drums, guys, right? Like we got an Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is like, they're both legit, like stick around and wait, because this is what the future of the MCU is. This is very much a setup film for what is coming, while also addressing, you know, that bond between Cassie and Scott that maybe they didn't get to work on as much as they had wanted to. Did I love this movie? Was I like, oh my gosh, this movie is phenomenal, it's incredible, it's my favorite thing ever? No. Did I actually like it more than the first Ant-Man? No, I didn't. But did I like it more than Ant-Man and the Wasp? Yes, I did. And I've actually, since the premiere, gone back and watched Ant-Man and the Wasp. And yes, I really do like this better. Ant-Man and the Wasp felt connected, together, again, with that comedic relief type thing. This has high like stakes, okay? I was going to say high expectations, but that's not the right word. High stakes. It has intense moments. This is setting up for things are going to be crazy in the MCU going forward, and that has me excited. The end credit scenes have me excited. Jonathan Majors is phenomenal. The script was pretty decent. Again, it gave everyone their time to shine, sort of. It didn't feel very rushed, which is good, and it didn't feel too drawn out, which is good. There's great action. It's missing some elements. It didn't feel super Ant-Man to me. At times it did. MODOK, I think some people are going to hate MODOK. It's going to be like a love or a hate situation with the MODOK, I think. I'm personally one of the people that was just cracking up more and more and more. Now, I will say, I'm not sure if that will follow through with a second watch. We'll have to wait and see. It could just more have been the element of surprise and like, what the heck is happening right now going on with the first watch. I will say also the CG was pretty on point, and I was looking for issues, and it was really, really on point. Also, again, this feels like Marvel and Star Wars kind of mashed together. It also feels kind of Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, with a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think that's why I rate it a little higher personally. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think I'm going to be enjoying it more than others. But I think a lot of people are going to be in the middle with this one, but we will see. I give it a 3 out of 5, right? AKA a 6 out of 10. It's definitely not perfect. I didn't love it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this movie is amazing. But I was like, hey, that was fun. I would watch it again. Will I watch it multiple times like Guardians? I can't even count how many times I've seen it. No, probably not, okay? Will I honestly go back to the first Ant-Man more than this one? Probably. But I do love this one for Kang and what we get, and just his interactions with literally every single other person is really, really incredible. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this again and seeing how it fares after a second watch. You guys let me know what you think about this movie. Are you looking forward to Quantumania? Let me know if by the time you get to this review, you've already seen it. Let me know your thoughts as well down below in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. You guys can follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and check me out at MamasGeeky.com. And then, yeah, if you have any questions, anything that I can answer that's not spoilery, I will in the comments. So drop them there, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much to all my monetary supporters, my members, and my Patreons. Love you guys.